Let's now create subdomains, and for this we go into macro model subdomain, and we need to select the individual contours. You can see first if it does not work to click inside contours. This has to do with the fact that we're in this CX projection. We can try to tilt it a little bit. There are a couple of lines missing here. Can I recreate them? Alright. Now we select replace here, and we have to do this by selecting edges and create the subdomains on the contour. Let's try to select one by one and create these subdomains. Alright, here it doesn't work. Let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's one edge too many selected. Alright. So here's going to be the next column, and here's going to be 1, and here's going to be 1. So we're not going to mesh these ones. But I need to mesh this field because this one is slightly narrower. Let's select these ones and this. Alright, now let's do virtual meshes, and for this I'm going back into the XC projection. Create virtual mesh, and here we will create triangular subdomains with 4, 4 and 6 split. So I'll enter 4, 2, 3 is the 6 element edge, and then here 4 one more time. We do the same here, 4, 6 and 4. And then these elements, we create an unstructured mesh with element size on the edges of 0.16. See how this works out. That's a little bit coarse, maybe choose a smaller value. Yeah, this looks very nicely. What's important is to have kind of as regular as possible mesh adjacent to the stone columns. It's even more important if we would have piles where we have interfaces. Here we're not going to put interfaces, so it's not as important to have a regular mesh on this interface in our situation, but still. Alright, here we tried the same split, unstructured mesh 1, 6, and here we have 7 elements, 5. Yeah, that works out pretty well. Then we do triangular mesh here, 4, 6 and 4 one more time. Check. And this one is going to be unstructured with a 16 centimeter split, and now we see that here we have 6 elements while here we had 5. That's not what we want, because we want a kind of an even mesh, so we would like to have the same here as here. One thing we could do would be to mirror the finite element mesh that is created here along a plane here. That way we would have exactly the same, but I'm gonna choose a different way. I'm just trying to recreate the same type of mesh by forcing 5 elements on this edge. And For this we need to remove the virtual mesh, and I create a beam on this object, which I will force a 5 element split, which should then be taken over by the 3D mesh. Alright, so now the split is not exactly the same, but on the edges it's the same. So we have 5, 3, 3, 5. Alright, that looks pretty nice. Maybe we can try to... this is more even somehow than it was here, than it was before. I like this, it's good. Now let's create finite element meshes, and here I will also do a split with 7 elements along the depth. Alright, now let's try to copy these elements. So we need this to be actually the how should I do this? Should I flip it? Let's try to do it this way. So here I create a point that I measure the coordinate, have it here. Now these elements will be copied by rotation, and for this I need to go into finite element, continue 2D, and do copy by rotation. Alright, now I need to specify the rotation axis, minus 1.875 and minus 1. The Z direction is not so important. Copy, paste, minus 1, and here the axis goes along the y-axis. I specify 180 degrees, and let's see what this does. Alright, nicely done. I'm doing the same here. Figuring out what the coordinates are here. Copy with rotation, minus 1.125, minus 1.125, 1, minus 1, and minus 1. Alright, that's correct. 180. And here we are. Alright, now this pattern we can just copy it all along. Copy with translation, and the spacing along X is 1.5 meters, and I copy it twice. Alright, and now here let's try a mirror, or it's easier to do a rotation because I know this is gonna work, because with mirroring sometimes the ordering of the elements does not work out correctly as intended. So I'm doing a rotation. Let's take this point. It should be, that's not the one. Alright, so it's the 0 point, so that makes it really easy. Copy with rotation. All I need to do is to copy the y coordinate that I plug in here, and I will rotate around the z-axis, a 1 here and 180. Somewhere I plugged in a wrong character, so there is a space, and probably the same here. Alright, here we are. Now I think that maybe there might be some duplicated nodes. Let's check this. Multiple nodes. Let's increase the tolerance. There are no duplicated nodes. Are there inconsistent splits? No. So this is a consistent mesh. Hit the save button not to lose any of your work. Alright.